Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Cathy McGrath, and I'm one of the many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 117, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today is Friday, May 13th, 2022. And we start off with trumpeting the arrival of spring. As you can see on the cover, this picture of trumpeter swans was settled into fresh water they located in a flooded field a few miles north of Eden. A large group of these birds was seen on May 4th near the Rolling Acres colony. And there's even some more pictures of them here. You can see them floating around, and you got a good close-up of one of them. They're really, really pretty. And we'll continue. Neepawa Golf and Country Club gets $287,000 for course upgrades by Owen Devereaux. The Neepawa Golf and Country Club, NGCC, has received new support that should take some of the financial burden off of a significant and much-needed upgrade to the course. The Manitoba government announced on Friday, May 6th, that it will distribute $642,283 through its Building Sustainable Communities program. In total, 11 different local community groups and projects are sharing in the support. NGCC is one of those 11 on the list. Investing in communities, Agassiz MLA Eileen Clark noted via press release that she was pleased to announce funding for so many projects that will support economic growth throughout the province. The Building Sustainable Communities Fund will provide important funding to many local organizations and groups, providing a much-needed boost to our community's recovery, both economically and socially, said Clark. I'm proud that our government has more than doubled the BSC fund, which makes funding for projects like these possible. We are committed to investing in our communities. A decent chunk of the necessary funding. As for the Neepawa Golf and Country Club, they have received the largest single amount from the BSC program at $287,067. That money will go towards the installation of a new irrigation system for the golf course, an upgrade that could cost anywhere between $500,000 and $700,000, depending upon some additional variables. The current irrigation system dates back to the 1980s and is well overdue for upgrade. NGCC General Manager and CPGA Golf Pro Landon Cameron said this additional support is an important step forward in getting those much-needed improvements done as quickly as possible. It's huge to get a decent chunk of the necessary funding in place like this to start. This could cut our project costs nearly in half, and it makes it more exciting to get going. We're not looking at going that much in debt to get the work done, said Cameron. Currently, the Neepawa Golf and Country Club is still in the planning stages of the project. In terms of a timeline for when the actual physical work could begin, the hope is for sometime in the fall this year, though a start time of 2023 might be more realistic. The start of work will depend heavily on fundraising efforts this year for the additional money needed to cover the cost, as well as the availability of installers and materials. And here's a list of the projects supported by the Building Sustainable Communities program. In total, there was $643,283 distributed through the Building Sustainable Communities program. The local community groups and projects that will be receiving funding include Neepawa Golf and Country Club, golf course improvements, $287,067. Town of Neepawa, for Neepawa Trail Towers, $75,000. Arm of Rosedale, Kelwood Arena renovations, $75,000. Treeherne Minor Athletic Association Incorporated, Phase 2 of arena upgrades, $68,860. Municipality of Westlake Gladstone, Gladstone Arena upgrades, $49,875. Westbury Perry Park upgrades, $5,098. Neepawa and District Centennial Project Committee, Inc. Yellowhead Center upgrades, $34,575. Edrins Community Center, Green Space Development, $19,750. Plumas Curling Club upgrades, $9,560. Manitoba Agricultural Museum, Inc. Food booth upgrades, $9,303. Yellowhead Development Society, Inc. Curling Club upgrades, $5,000. Viscount Cultural Council, Inc. National Truth and Reconciliation Event, $3,150. And here we have an important notice for the town of Neepawa, a boil water advisory. Our new reservoir, which will double our treated water capacity, is ready to be connected. During the connection, there will be periods when water will be unavailable and or low pressure. Therefore, provincial regulations require a mandatory boil water advisory for all users until the water sample tests are complete and have passed. Dates: from Friday, May 20th, when the connection takes place, to approximately Tuesday, May 24th, the anticipated listing of the advisory. Watch the website, Facebook, and AllNet Connect for the all clear. All users of the town of Neepawa water system. An advisory is simply a precautionary measure. What does it mean for you? Fill any containers for drinking and cooking prior to May 19th. This ensures we have water available for firefighting and general purposes during the connection period on May 20th. Reduce or limit your personal water usage on May 20th during the connection. No commercial water use is permitted on May 20th. Boil water for at least 2 minutes for any food and beverage consumption from May 20th until the advisory is lifted on approximately May 24th. Do not wash cars, do laundry, unnecessary cleaning, or use excessive water anywhere within the water distribution systems in the town of Neepawa, RM of Rosedale, and municipality of North Cypress Langford. The town realizes this is an inconvenience, and we are working hard to ensure we minimize disruption and ensure the boil water advisory can be lifted as quickly as possible. The town is working and consulting with the drinking water officer to ensure all provincial protocols are met, the lab in Winnipeg, who will open for us over the weekend to receive our hand-delivered water samples taken from multiple points in our line and begin analyzing them. High Life, Prairie Mountain Health, Buda Plains School Division, Rosedale, and North Cypress Langford to ensure everyone is prepared for this service disruption. Thank you for your cooperation. The Riverbend Antique Show is successful in Neepawa by Owen Devereaux. A change in date and some stiff competition around the region didn't end up dampening the enthusiasm at the Riverbend Market Antique Show. The inaugural event, staged by Neepawa Tourism, took place on Saturday, May 7th at the Yellowhead Arena and featured 12 unique vendors and 17 sales booths. The antique show had originally been scheduled for April 23rd, but had to be postponed due to the Colorado storm system that dropped a large swath of snow across all of southern Manitoba. Changing the date ended up putting the market in direct competition with somewhat similar events in Minnedosa and Plumas. But Darren Cameron, organizer of the antique show, noted that despite the challenges they faced, the people who showed up were still in a buying mood. We're still working on the exact number of attendees, but it was a buying crowd that came, so the vendor response was that overall they did well with sales and it was worth setting up the market, said Cameron. It is always a bit of a gamble for vendors, as most drive a fair distance to attend, and they want the markets to be worth the effort. It is unfortunate that the weather caused a postponement, which slowed the momentum we built up to be one of the first markets of the season. Cameron added that there were many positive comments from both the vendors and the shoppers on how the day transpired. There was a great variety of vintage items, from the rustic to the more high-end collectibles, Cameron stated. Overall, I am happy with how the event turned out. Cameron concluded by noting that it's still too soon to commit to this becoming an annual event, but he does hope that we could become an annual tourist draw for the community. And there's a couple of pictures here showing the types of vendor displays that were there, and the arena. And also Smile for the Camera Photography Club. Sorry about that, the picture in the middle here is the Neepawa Creative Photography Club held its secondary meeting on May 5th. The gathering was held at Arts Forward starting at 7 p.m. The meeting was well attended with photographers of varying ages and allowed the group to further flesh out their ideas. And then there's a thank you. Ag Expo Auction supports NGCC. Neepawa Titans Ag Expo Chairman Matt Lowry presents Landon Cameron of the Neepawa Golf and Country Club with a check for $2,446. The money was raised through the Titans 2022 Ag Expo Auction. That's next. How about Home Buddies from Rita Friesen? We all have our own shoes to fill. Chatting often leads to deeper dialogue, a gift I treasure. It began as a chat and progressed to a meaningful conversation with nuggets to share, and share I did. My eldest son was sharing about the day while working with his father in the shop, mentioned that he felt inadequate to fill his father's shoes, a compliment, a sincere reflection. The words from father to son now bring comfort to many in our extended family. You have your own shoes to fill. Not negating the impact a strong, honest, and integrity-filled father had on the household, just assurance that we all have our own role to fill. At the time the truth was imparted, my son, a young husband and father, drew strength and courage for his journey. We can never truly fill another person's shoes. They won't fit. There are toes that will be squished and heels that may be rubbed raw. A poor-fitting pair of shoes affects our gait and our pace, with sometimes long-lasting scars. Fast forward 20 years, one of my children was reflecting on the difficulty of being a patient, accepting, and even-keeled as the patriarch of the clan was perceived to be. Ed was all that and more, one of the most honest, humble, and genuine persons I have ever known. Not perfect, faith-filled and responsible, accountable for his own actions. As I listened to my loved ones in their anguish, I shared the quote from the workshop days. There was a moment of silence, then a quiet thank you. These words have been shared with the second generation as well, and made the third and fourth learn from them as well. You have your own shoes to fill. How many of us watch others and wish for their lot in life? I admit it is too easy to become discontented with the role we fill in our home, community, and in the wider world. That's where I appreciate how the phrase coined during this endless pandemic, essential workers, opened many eyes to the role of the grocery clerk, the gas jockey, the aides, and the cleaning staff play in our lives. Now, if we could only reflect that in the pay scale. There are some individuals that I know work in food service, a job that is not often seen as a career, a job that I am thankful I've never been called to fill, unless feeding a family counts. I see it as a thankless, demanding job, and for some it is their second nature, the shoes they were given to fill, and are very good at doing so. I acknowledge that over time my feet have grown, and I've worn new shoes with comfort and pride. I was in my 40s when I achieved my official grade 12 standing, in my 60s when I became a licensed lay worker in the United Church of Canada, and 70 when I completed a course in clinical pastoral care, changed shoes several times. Best shoes I filled is running barefoot, being me, close to the earth and open to change. Fill your own shoes with pride. Out of Helen's Kitchen from Helen Drysdale. She's got a nice little summary here on to spring clean. Spring cleaning, as we used to know it, has bit the dust. We seldom hear of it happening anymore. In the Jewish tradition, spring cleaning dates back to biblical times. During Passover, the Torah requires that no traces of leavened bread be left in the house. Not wanting to insult God, the entire house, basement, and all is cleaned. During Passover, this is a type of spring cleaning with a Jewish twist. Spring cleaning is also a formal part of some Christian faiths. The Greek Orthodox Church normally cleans on the first day of Lent, which they call Clean Monday. Catholic churches conduct a thorough cleaning of their altars on the day before Good Friday. The Iranian festival of Nowruz, which is New Year, happens on the first day of spring. A major spring cleaning, or shaking the house, is done to prepare for the arrival of Nowruz. The innovative English journalist Isabella Beeton popularized spring cleaning in her 1861 book. Mrs. Beaton's book of household management, where she states that the spring is the usual period to set apart for house cleaning. Here is a quote from the manual. The weather not being then too hot for the exertion necessary in washing counterpanes, blankets, and heavy things in general, the work is better and more easily done than in the intense heats of July. It is usual to begin at the top of the house and clean downwards, moving everything out of the room and washing. Perhaps not many, even inexperienced housekeepers would begin at the downstairs passages and parlors and proceed upstairs to bedrooms. Should you clean the lower rooms first, they will get sadly dusty by the time the rest are completed. During the 1800s and early 1900s, the biggest annual house cleaning took place in the spring. Homes were heated with wood or coal in fireplaces or stoves. Lamps at the time were lit with whale oil or kerosene. By the end of the winter, walls, windows, and furnishings were coated with a layer of soot, coal dust, and oily grime. Proper cleaning could be done only in the warmer weather, as windows needed to be left open to help clear the soot out. Vinegar, water, brushes, and elbow grease were employed for the job at hand. Since most homes did not have running water, the run to the well, spring, or creek to get your water was the most arduous chore. It then had to be heated on the stove and the dirty water hauled out again. Ceilings, walls, baseboards, and floors were scrubbed with stiff brushes. Picture frames were wiped with cooking oil. Varnish was used on all the wooden beds to kill the bed bugs. The feather mattresses and blankets were taken out and aired on the clothesline. Any rugs and carpets were removed and given a good beating on the clothesline using a wooden or wire carpet beater. No gym membership needed for those ladies. Dirty wallpaper was cleaned with a piece of white bread. The ladies made their own cleaning solutions, as for the most part purchased ones were unavailable. Some of the most common cleaning solutions were made with lemon juice, tea leaves, baking soda, borax, vinegar, salt, and even gin, which was mentioned in an 1850 cleaning manual as a solution for polishing mirrors. Windowsills were rubbed with onion water to repel bugs and flies. Those living in a sod house would clean out some of the top earthen floor and replace it with new sand. Spring cleaning is not the necessity it once was, with our modern heating systems that make a thorough spring cleaning not so essential. No coal soot to scrub off the walls anymore. RCMP, Spruce Plains Report by Corporal Jacob Stanton. During the week of May 2nd to May 8th, Spruce Plains RCMP dealt with 62 police activities. May 2nd, RCMP responded to a report of a person failing to comply with a court order in Minnedosa. After an investigation, one person was arrested, charged, and remanded into custody. Police received a report of a missing youth in Neepawa who was located shortly after with no cause for concern. Police were dispatched to a commercial alarm in Glenella, which was later determined to be false. May 3rd, RCMP received a report of a break-and-enter to a business in Minnedosa. The matter is still under investigation. Police responded to a domestic assault in Gladstone. One person was arrested, charged, and remanded into custody. Police were dispatched to a single vehicle rollover in the municipality of Westlake Gladstone, where a fuel truck was in the ditch and was leaking fluid. The driver was transported to the hospital with minor injuries. May 4th, RCMP responded to a report of an assault with a weapon in Rapid City. The suspect had fled but was located shortly after by police and was arrested on numerous charges and remanded into custody. Police received a report of shoplifting from business in Minnedosa. The matter is still under investigation. May 5th, RCMP received a report of a break-and-enter to a residence in the arm of Minto Odana, where numerous items were stolen, including a vehicle, cash, and firearms. The matter is still under investigation. Police received a report of a suspicious person in Minnedosa. The person returned to their home shortly after, and there were no further concerns. May 6, RCMP responded to a disturbance at a residence in Minnedosa, where a vehicle pulled up and the driver began screaming profanities at the residents who were outside doing yard work. Extensive patrols were made for the vehicle, but the suspect was not located. Police received a report of an online fraud in Minnedosa, where a buyer sent an e-transfer to a seller for a product that was never received. There was insufficient evidence to proceed further. May 7th, RCMP responded to a report of domestic assault in Minnedosa. One person was arrested, charged, and released with future court appearance. Police received a report of sexual interference in Neepawa. After an investigation, it was determined that the allegation was unfounded. Police were dispatched to a report of an assault in Gladstone. One person was arrested on numerous charges and remanded into custody. May 8th, RCMP received a report of a stolen vehicle in Minnedosa. The matter is still under investigation. Police responded to a break and enter to a business in the RM of Rosedale. This matter is also still under investigation. RCMP conducted 13 traffic enforcement actions during this report period. And if you have any information about these crimes or any other crimes, please contact your local RCMP or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. Neepawa Detachment 204-476-7340 and Minnedosa 204-867-2916 to inquire about criminal record checks or file a report. Arden man arrested on child porn possession charges, submitted by the RCMP. The Manitoba RCMP Internet Child Exploitation Unit, ICE, received several complaints from the RCMP National Child Exploitation Crime Centre regarding the possession of child pornography in Western Manitoba. As a result of the complaint, on May 3rd, 2022, the ICE unit, the RCMP Digital Forensic Services Unit, along with the assistance of Neepawa RCMP Detachment, executed a search warrant at a residence on Saskatchewan Drive in Arden, Manitoba. Sean Buchanan, 36, of Arden, was arrested at the scene and has been charged with possession of child pornography, accessing child pornography, making child pornography available, luring ×2, and failed to comply. He was remanded into custody. The RCMP ICE unit is committed to combating the online exploitation of children in Manitoba. Agassiz receives funding for pothole road repair. It's admitted by the PC Caucus of Manitoba. The province of Manitoba is dedicating $261,309.14 to the Agassiz constituency through the Municipal Road Repair Fund to aid in the repair of potholes and other road damage. This comes as part of our government's $15 million commitment to 137 municipalities across Manitoba to repair and maintain damaged roads. The communities that are receiving funding include Rosedale, $17,996.07, Norfolk Treherne, $20,900.95, Carberry, $21,467.76, North Cypress Langford, $35,555.24, Westlake Gladstone, $38,649.05, Neepawa, $67,131.03, Glenella Lansdowne, $13,378.97, and North Norfolk, $46,230.07. Municipalities across the province have been hit hard by this unprecedented weather, which has caused significant damage to our roads, says Agassiz MLA Eileen Clark. But our government is committed to helping ease the increased financial burden associated with this damage. Together, we will repair Manitoba's roads. Above average precipitation and colder than average temperatures have caused a substantial increase in the number and severity of potholes in Manitoba roads. This one-time grant program will provide municipalities across Manitoba for funding for road construction, rehabilitation, and preservation projects. The Gladstone Chamber of Commerce monthly meeting by the Banner staff. Members of the Gladstone Chamber of Commerce assembled on Thursday, May 5th for their monthly meeting. The gathering featured guest speaker Ken Reimer, the General Manager of Community Futures Heartland. Community Futures is a federally funded nonprofit assisting small business to medium enterprises start, grow, and flourish. Reimer discussed with the Chamber members the three main pillars of Community Futures. They are business lending up to $150,000 at a minimum prime +2. However, it's necessary that they are not able to obtain the traditional lending. Business support, such as helping create a business plan for entrepreneurs to take to banks and provide training. Community and economic development by assisting nonprofits, daycares, tourism, Chamber of Commerce, etc. In closing, Reimers noted that Community Futures Heartland are online at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. He also requested an invoice so they can be chamber members and will include an invitation to the trade show. Notable business. Next, Chamber President Brittany Pollard passed a motion to amend item number 6, board position as per a Stride Credit Union request. The amendment included in the removal of current signatories, as neither currently serving as executive board members. The motion was seconded and carried. The Treasurer report noted that the current ledger balance is $4,153.09. Other outstanding business included an update on upgrades at the Happy Rock roadside attraction. The municipality has been contacted and they are starting to work on tenders. A committee of chamber members will be appointed to work together on the project. Notable upcoming events. Work on a trade show set for October 15th at Stride Hall was discussed. A planning committee is being put together. A street dance has been confirmed and scheduled for Friday, August 5th. Required tasks were split between members. It will also include a Color Me Fun event on Saturday, August 6th. Also, a Fun Day Gladstone event will be held on June 4th. It'll include a garage sale from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., as well as a royalty parade will be at noon and end at the Legion Club Room for the start of the Queen's Jubilee. Miscellaneous. New business included business list draws. 2 entries were received, and Tristan Tykrib was drawn as the winner. A proposal to join the Manitoba Chamber of Commerce was tabled. The Chamber needs to remove the Christmas lights from the big trees. Website, the Chamber plans to send information to municipal office to see if they can create a subpage for the Gladstone Chamber of Commerce. A welcome letter and invitation will be sent to Gladstone Hotel. And looking back, and in the picture, it's 1962, students see Prime Minister Diefenbaker at West Park. And a framed copy of the Canadian Bill of Rights was presented to the Neepawa schools by Prime Minister Diefenbaker, front right, during the ceremony at West Park School in 1962. Receiving it was Viscount student Bob Turner, front left. At the far right is Mrs. Diefenbaker, and in the background are Senator and Mrs. Thorbalson and Mrs. Walter Dinsdale. That's a pretty old picture. 110 years ago, 1912, the loss of the Titanic made a deep impression here. Something of the kind might be expected and will happen again. In the rush and tear of the present age, it does not matter what results go fast. 100 years ago, 1922, Franklin, a few of our young men have signified their intention of joining the company of militia now being recruited in Neepawa. Carry on, Sergeant Major. 90 years ago, 1932, Arden, the CPR steam pile driver, is repairing the bridge over Snake Creek. The busiest spot in town these days is being erected on Mountain Avenue. Our big worry will be when it's time to move to the new premises without interfering with publication. 1942, Dr. H.H. Hutchinson, health officer, had quite a busy day at the Neepawa Public School Monday, where almost every student underwent a tuberculin test. This was given by an injection in the arm, and should the result be positive, it means the child has come in contact with the germ. There were a few of the students that would not take the test. However, this number was small in comparison with the number of children attending the school. No test was given in the collegiate as serum ran out and there was no sufficient time for development. Pilot Officer J.S. Jack Hughes has just reported to No. 2 Training Command Headquarters RCF as Assistant Command Cadet Officer. Born in Grandview and educated in Neepawa, he is a son of Mrs. Sam Hughes, Winnipeg, and the late Sam Hughes, former MP for Gilbert Plains. A graduate in arts at the University of Manitoba with postgraduate experience at McGill University, Montreal. And in France, Pilot Officer Hughes has been for the past 6 years a member of the teaching staff of Kelvin High School in Winnipeg. He has always been interested in all forms of sports, having been actively connected with the athletic interests of Kelvin students. He took on officer's training course at Manitoba's University in 1939 and enlisted in the RCAF as an AC2 in January this year. He reported originally to No. 2 Manning Depot at Brandon, from which unit he was posted for duty to the Ottawa Recruiting Centre for a short period. He received his present appointment on April 17th and took an officer's basic training course at No. 1 Manning Depot, Toronto, following completion of which he was posted to Winnipeg on air cadet duty. 1952, Glenella. Glenella is to get a new road from the creamery into town if present plans materialize. Surveyors will have the new road surveyed in about 3 weeks. It is planned to have a contractor from Neepawa with road building equipment do the work. While he is in this territory, some road building also for Glenella municipality will be attended to. 1962, Kelwood. George Botchett has won the Best Actor trophy at the Dodgen Regional Drama Festival. A teacher at Kelwood Collegiate, Mr. Botchett played the part of Sir Alfred Pickles in She Was No Lady. The festival was held last weekend with a total of 6 plays entered, a sharp decline from previous years. Neepawa Air Cadet Squadron No. 9 has won the Marksmanship Shield for the 2nd time Saturday at Rivers. CJATC Lieutenant Colonel A.B. Stewart made the presentation of the award to Flight Lieutenant Peter Cottingham, commanding officer of the local squadron. Following the event, the competition is small caliber and .303 firing. 25 Neepawa cadets journey to Rivers for the competition, with Western Manitoba Air Cadet Squadrons. 2 of the 4 cadet flying scholarships awarded in Western Manitoba have been received by the Neepawa Squadron, the press was informed. May 15th, more than 1,000 Neepawa and Arden school teachers, students, and a few adults assembled on the West Park School grounds Thursday to await the arrival of Canada's Prime Minister and Mrs. Diefenbaker. 1972, Polonia, attending the Kasper Dag wedding at Neepawa Saturday were Mr. and Mrs. Albin Kasprick, Mr. and Mrs. Charles Snezik, Mr. and Mrs. Joe Pereski, and Mr. and Mrs. John Snezik. 1982, as many other communities, Sydney, Manitoba, a village of 125 located 45 miles east of Brandon, is celebrating their centennial this year. Valerie DePorto graduated from the University of Manitoba with a Bachelor of Science degree in February of '82. Valerie is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. John H. Dick of Neepawa. Kelwood. Belated birthday greetings to Bill Mabley, who celebrated his 70th birthday last Thursday. Arden. Lloyd and Gertie Francis attended the 60th wedding anniversary celebrations of Mr. and Mrs. Nelson Harvey, nee Joy Turner, in Winnipeg. 1992. Members of Neepawa's BPO Elks Lodge were a jubilant group Friday evening when announced construction on their proposed seniors housing complex, Elks Manor, could begin as early as June 15th. Jim Small said the Elks got the go-ahead for the 50-room, 6-story housing project after Manitoba Housing and Renewal Corporation agreed to take over the last 6 unsold units as subsidized housing. However, Small said the Elks still hope to be able to sell those units. Glenella, birthday congratulations of 66 years to Angus Fifi on May 17th, 57 years to Juan Gardner, May 19th, 63 years to Pauline Denischuk on May 22nd, 66 years to Bill Ursel, May 26th, and 96 years to Tom Hugginson on May 28th. 20 years ago, 2002, Glenella. Heath Kushner of Winnipeg spent May 2nd to 3rd here with Joe Kushner and Lorraine Merkin. Weekend visitors with Wayne and Jane Wilson were Ian and Stacey Post and Caitlin of Portage, and Shannon Wilson of Brandon. They were out to help mark the 30 years of service for Wilson Lumber, Friday and Saturday, May 3rd to 4th. And gardening season is almost here and spring is in bloom. We've got 3 pictures here. The top one on the left, many people will be getting ready to start their gardens for the year. Some may already have started their planting. The greenhouses in the area are open and ready to supply avid gardeners with their plants and seeds. Above, a colorful display of flowers available at A&B Dalrymple's Country Farm Greenhouse in Minnedosa. Below, a selection of succulents available at Parkside Gardens, Need Riding Mountain. And on the top right, local photographer Jody Baker was out in Arden during the community's annual Crocus Festival this last weekend. The crocuses the village is known for were also out in full force for the festival. The announcement on Neepawa's new hospital site is coming soon by Owen Devereux. The answer to just where Neepawa's new hospital will actually be located could be made public in the very near future. Recently, Agassiz MLA Eileen Clark, along with several other members of the Legislative Assembly, were in Neepawa as part of a rural Manitoba tour. The collective were visiting several communities to meet with municipal officers and groups face to face. As part of that tour, Clark, along with Minister of Justice and Attorney General Kelvin Gertsen, and Education and Early Learning Minister Wayne Owasco sat down and spoke with Neepawa Banner and Press on a wide array of topics. One item of note that came up was what's new with the $127 million medical facility announced back in December. Clark told the Banner and Press that there has been a lot of deliberation over the last few months related to the procedural paperwork needed for such a project. She suggested that work would soon be completely finalized. I would say it's very close. It's in the ballpark of shared health right now. They, apparently, for what I hear, are just finalizing the details, crossing the T's and dotting the I's on the land deal that they're working on. We had actually hoped that that would be able to be announced on May 3rd, but it was a technical standpoint. It can't be announced until the final documents are completed, said Clark. When I asked if she was aware of a specific location that has been chosen, Clark stated that she was, but was not privy to sharing it publicly just yet. When shared health goes to the legal part of the process done, it then has to go to the Treasury Board within our government. It goes through Treasury Board on a Tuesday, it'll go to Cabinet on the Wednesday, and it doesn't become public until the following Tuesday to get through the proper process and is confidential until that time. There has been speculation locally that the land located just south of the Neepawa Golf and Country Club was going to be the location. There has been considerable soil testing and other pre-construction work being done on the site. To date, there has been no acknowledgement in any form from the province or any of its officials that that is the case. The Noodle Medical Facility has an expected cost at least $127 million and will be more than double the size of the current Neepawa Health Center. It will feature at least 60 acute care inpatient beds, whereas the current facility only has 35. There will also be an expanded emergency department and more space for surgery, diagnostics, palliative care, and various outpatient services, including dialysis and chemotherapy. Construction is stated to begin before the end of the year with a projected completion date of 2025. This statement, they see that Neepawa is a growing community. Neepawa selected as a BSc recipient, planned to construct trail towers by Casper Warehan. The town of Neepawa has a big recreational development planned. As part of the Manitoba PC Caucus announcement that $642,283 in funding is being distributed for local projects through the Building Sustainable Communities program, Neepawa has received $75,000 for upgrades to the Trans-Canada trails. The total cost of the project is expected to be $150,000, with half being covered by the provided funding and the remaining half being accounted for by the town budget. The project in mind, adding towers to the trails. With these additions, Recreation Director Nicole C. Cooper says the idea is to use them as a way to bring people back to the Trans-Canada trails, being active outdoors and viewing the area in a different way. Depending on lumber costs and construction, we plan to have 5 tower trails constructed along the Trans-Canada Trail. There'll be 2-story towers with Neepawa branding, said Cooper. So it'll be a partnership with Neepawa Tourism, where people can get a map and travel from tower trail to tower trail, climb up and view Neepawa from different viewpoints and take selfies and whatnot. It's something that'll be like our red chair for the park. The Trans-Canada Trail goes all the way through town, starting at Highway 5 North. On Hurl Road, the trail then goes through the High Life Back 40, down through the cemetery, behind the hospital, around the flats, through Riverbend, around Park Lake, and then exits through Highway 5 South. At the moment, likely spots for the towers are the Back 40, Riverbend Park, and Park Lake, with the remaining 2 to be determined. Neepawa is very fortunate in the last 2 years. We received a grant from the BSc Annual, said Cooper. The first was $75,000 for our bike park, and then $249,000 for the swimming pool and the pickleball upgrades. So it's really good that for a 3rd year we've been awarded money from the same program. In her final thoughts, she added, "It's promising. I think they see what Neepawa as a growing community and are happy to put their dollars in our pockets to help us increase recreation for the town." It's hard to see, but the trail comes down and it goes around the North 40 and then all along behind the hospital, down through Riverbend, down around Park Lake and out. So it's quite a hike. And Robertson family named the Charolais Commercial Breeder of the Year by Casper Warehan. Pictured from left to right, Dallas, Madison, and Paul Robertson, and pictured on the right, Kelly and Yvonne Robertson. Congratulations are in order for an area farming family. The Robertsons, Dallas, Paul, Madison, Kelly, and Yvonne, were named Commercial Breeder of the Year by the Manitoba Charolais Association late last month, an honor that came as a big shock, according to Dallas. It was quite the surprise, Dallas laughed lightheartedly. You don't really expect to get acknowledged just for doing your everyday thing. Farming has been in the family for quite some time, with Dallas's husband, Paul, being the fourth-generation farmer, and daughter Madison, a fifth. As a family, they run approximately 3,000 acres of grain land and calve 160 cows. Noted by the association as strong advocates for Charolais cattle, they have their own cow herd of Simmental and Red Agnes crosses, which are bred with Charolais bulls. Calving from January to March, they sell most of their calves through Heartland Livestock Services in Verdun during the fall. While calving this early provides them with the benefit of having it all said and done before tending to the fields in the springtime, the breed of cattle itself also has its benefits. Charolais originated in France, and what they are promoting right now is their maternal strength and growing ability for terminal weight sires, Dallas explained. This means that they grow fast and have big weaning weights. Drastic change. The benefits of these cattle have been experienced firsthand by the Robertsons. In the past, Kelly had purchased Charolais bulls from Cavers Charolais, run by Lloyd and Lorraine Cavers, and JMB Charolais, run by Judy Hart and Bert McDonald, before switching to Simmental bulls. However, the herd had become too red influenced for the family's liking and switched back to purebred Charolais bulls about 8 or 9 years ago. Switching to Charolais bulls, we brought our average weaning weights up on heifers by 60 pounds and steers by 50 pounds, says Dallas. So our weaning weights have increased drastically, meaning we get more weight by the end of the year, and that means a little bit more money too, she added. Since switching back, we have been purchasing from our good friends Sean, Tanya, Chase, and Blake Airy of HTA Charolais in Rivers. And it says connections foster careers. The Robertsons crossbred calves constantly top the market when they go through the ring. Bert McDonald and Judy Hart have been an integral part of the Robertson family in operations, the pair having taken Paul under the wing at the beginning of Paul's 4-H career. Now they are huge influences on Madison's 4-H and show career as well. Madison is in her 7th year of being a 4-H member and is often seen involved in junior shows such as CCYA, Manitoba AgX, Canadian Western Agribition, Harding Fair, Manitoba Youth Beef Roundup, and the local 4-H shows and inter-club shows. She has won Grand Championship steer and female with her Charolais and crossed calves several times in her 4-H career. Additionally, Madison is also the current president of the Manitoba Junior Charolais Association, with parents providing support and volunteering their time to the association as well. Dallas was part of the MJCA CCYA planning committee when Manitoba hosted the event in 2018. At this time, Paul volunteered several hours to help to ensure the success of the show. The Robertsons as a whole have attended these events together and participated in others as the MCA's annual general meeting as well. And here you can see some of their family cattle just out in the pasture last year. Home and garden. Did you know if tomato-loving shoppers were tasked with sorting through each variety of tomato whenever they visited their local grocery store or farmers markets, then such trips could take a considerable amount of time. That's because there are thousands of varieties of tomato. Many unique varieties. The home gardening enthusiasts at Home Garden Vegetables note that there are at least 10,000 unique tomato varieties across the globe. Flavor could have a lot to do with that, as tomatoes are popular ingredients in dishes spanning the globe. Individuals who want their tomatoes to pack the most healthy punch possibly may want to cook them in olive oil. Cooking tomatoes breaks down cell walls and releases the antioxidant lycopene, which has been linked to reduced risk for stroke, lower cholesterol, and eye health. Consumer Report also notes that lycopene is fat soluble, which means it's more effectively absorbed when eaten with some fat. Support critically important for settlement services. Don Walmsley provides local perspective on provincial funding announcement by Casper Warehan. Settlement services in Manitoba are getting a boost. The Government of Manitoba announced via press release on April 25th that it would be investing $5.1 million through the Newcomer Community Integration Support Program in 15 organizations to assist with the integration of newcomers to Manitoba. Of the funds being provided, Manitoba Start will receive $3 million, with the other $2.1 million being split between 14 other Manitoba organizations. Among these, Neepawa District Settlement Services was not listed as a recipient. However, NDSS Executive Director Don Walmsley assured that NDSS was not overlooked. Although the announcement may have read like an opportunity for new funding to those outside the sector, the fact of the matter is that it was more of a renewal announcement. It's focused around what they call the Manitoba Client Support Program. This program has been initiated approximately 2 or 3 years ago to provide very specific services to temporary foreign workers, people who weren't permanent residents, Walmsley explained. So it wasn't generally looking for additional service, and those who had applied previously needed to reapply. Collaborative efforts, in particular NDSS, along with similar organizations within the province, are specifically funded in order to provide services to permanent residents. As such, and because other organizations were seeing more of a need for the funding, NDSS did not put in an application. We have High Life here too, and High Life brings a number of temporary foreign workers, but they also provide a number of supports that aren't found in the regular situation, said Walmsley. He added, and we were lucky to get funding from a totally different department, specifically to work with temporary foreign workers or migrant workers, those who are seasonal and cultural workers. So we were already able to, under a different venue, provide some support. Although NDSS did not personally apply for the announced funding, they did enter a collaborative effort with one of their colleagues who already had some provincial funding and was applying again to see if it would be possible to be part of that as well. This partner did receive some funding and are currently waiting to see if what that will look like. The Manitoba Client Support Program is a very good program. It's a very confined and with a very fixed budget, and some of the organizations that got in the first go-round have established some really good programming and support, Walmsley enthused. It's critically important for these kind of organizations to get this kind of support. A change in direction. Delving into some history to better paint the full picture, Walmsley noted that up until 2013, settlement services in Manitoba were funded by the federal government, but coordinated by the provincial government. However, this was an anomaly with only one other province, BC, with this setup. They developed specific services related to how they were coordinating. Under the provincial coordination, NDSS did work with a lot of temporary foreign workers. However, the federal government resumed coordination in 2013, and NDSS and other organizations' directions changed. Under federal guidance, those organizations were responsible for a variety of programs for those who had obtained their permanent residency. This means, as agencies, we lost direct contact with the people who were temporary foreign workers, Walmsley explained. We recognized the loss. Even our federal funder recognized it. But this is what the program was mandated to do, so we had to make that change. He added, since that time and now, there have been several attempts to try and find some kind of supports that were able to do it. I'm happy to say that probably in the past 3 years, we've started to see more availability of being able to provide support to this particular client group. They certainly could use it. They're new here, and there's a lot of things to learn. Walmsley noted that this is a very interesting and fluid situation, with the funding renewal being an important, good opportunity. The people engaged with temporary foreign workers now are doing some great work, said Walmsley. I'm really glad to see they did another call for the proposals, and I'll also be glad to see if some of our colleagues who already provided programming are successful continuing it. On the part of NDSS, they are always looking at what news is coming down the pipe. At the moment, people are leaving Ukraine under a very particular immigration stream and are expected to start arriving more in Canada, with those individuals likely coming to Manitoba in the next few weeks. To further assist these individuals, Walmsley noted that the government has said that regular settlement services will be able to provide support for them as well. With this being fairly new, settlement services in the province are waiting to see what that will look like outside of Winnipeg. Depending on how it all works out, NDSS is considering potentially bringing in some volunteers. Until the situation is more developed, the plan for now is to take things one day at a time and go with the flow, identifying the needs as they are and adapting to them. It sounds very Zenish, but it's true. We're people working with people, and they need to take it from a very human approach, Walmsley enthused. As well, it's a very practical and reality-based approach. In his final comments, Walmsley spoke of the fortune of living in a province where there's a high sense of receptivity to newcomers. That's growing, and it continues to grow, said Walmsley, adding, just looking at our own community and areas here and what immigration has done with regards to bringing some life back into the rural communities that have been fairly stable for a long period of time, and we're looking to see such movement. It's been a very exciting ride so far, and I see no reason to suspect that it won't be exciting going forward. And new signage arrives for Neepawa COPP by Owen Devereaux. There will be a much higher visible profile for Neepawa's Citizens on Patrol program, COP, around the community this spring. Recently, 20 new signs, 8 large and 12 small signs, were purchased for the volunteer community group. A few will be used to replace some older signage that is already in place. The majority, however, will be new signs placed throughout the community and surrounding area. Councillor Jason Nadeau said that this type of expansion in its visible presence is a real positive support for COP. When people drive through, they'll know that Neepawa is a protected community and that they have an active Citizens on Patrol group, indicated Nadeau. The Neepawa COPP has been in existence since 1997. The program's goals and objectives are the pride and presence in the community through patrolling in vehicles on foot or on bikes. Members act as the eyes and ears for local RCMP detachments, observing and reporting criminal activities to the patrolling RCMP members on duty. And in the picture you can see Town Councillor Jason Nadeau showcasing some of the new Citizens on Patrol signs, which will be put up across the community. And some news from Carberry, North Cyprus, Langford. Carberry Cougars Corner by Gladwin Scott. The Carberry Collegiate Spring Band Concert will be held Wednesday, June 1st, 7 p.m. at the Cougar Dome. All bands will be performing. The 2022 graduation will be held Monday, June 27th in the school gymnasium. It will be back to a more traditional ceremony, but there will be no banquet, and there will be a much smaller parade around town. Each graduate will be allowed 8 guests at the ceremony. Scholarships and awards will be presented as in former years. Class valedictorians have not yet been announced. Staff changes for 22-23 have been announced. Bob Clark will retire this year. Chebriens will return to the part-time grade 8 position. Ty Dixon will be doing the fall grade 6 term until Lindsay Adrianson returns from maternity leave in January. Carissa Kirkup has just announced that she has accepted a position in Brandon for the fall, so there is a grade 6 position that will need to be filled. The girls have a Cougars fastball team coached by Gary Salmon and Donna Kimakovich. 3 boys will play baseball with the Glenborough Panthers coached by Bryce Watson. Hockey Wind-Up by Gladwin Scott. Many hockey fans, especially the Montreal Canadiens variety, would be engrossed in the nationally televised funeral for Guy Lafleur Tuesday, May 4th. It was very similar to other Canadian superstars like Maurice Richard and Jean Beliveau, who also received national funerals. Several eulogies were delivered by former players, Ivan Cornier, Larry Robinson, Guy Corbeneau, and Patrick Roy, son of Martin Lafleur, and Jeff Molson, Canadian CEO. Guy Lafleur helped the Canadiens win 5 Stanley Cups and received several individual awards. Lafleur was also a restaurant owner and a helicopter pilot. He was a warm, generous, friendly hockey legend who visited the Canadian troops in Afghanistan. Lafleur, who influenced the lives of many, was a great ambassador for hockey and the Canadians. He passed away April 22nd after a battle with lung cancer, and his body was used for medical research. The 18-team Westman High School Hockey League held its spring meeting in Brandon Wednesday. All teams appear ready for another season with an earlier start. Coach Troy Leslie, formerly of Elkhorn, who started his teaching and coaching career in Norway House, had his host U18 AAA Southwest Cougars flying in Verdun for the TELUS Cup Western Regionals. They lost 4-3 in overtime to the Thunder Bay Kings and were blanked 3-0 by the Notre Dame Hounds, but rebounded to shut out the Winnipeg Wild 3-0 and quality for the gold medal match. Notre Dame scored the winning goal with 17 seconds left in the game to win 4-3. The Cougars had tied the game with 3:17 left in the third. Nate Robson recorded 2 points for the Cougars. Notre Dame will now represent the region in Okotoks, Alberta for the Nationals. And Jenna Green, formally sworn in as member of Brandon Police Service. Again, Gladwin Scott. Jara Green, former Carberry Collegiate graduate and Female Athlete of the Year, was sworn in as a Brandon Police Service Constable on Friday, April 29th. She was previously employed with the Rivers Police Service. She had some additional courses to complete in order to qualify for the Brandon Police Service. The Chief of Brandon City Police has granted her permission to continue teaching physical fitness to the public safety, former police studies, students at ACC. Her new position will not permit Green to return to Paint Lake near Thompson to fight forest fires again this summer. Jara was an outstanding soccer player and team MVP with ACC as a student. She and her sister, Kalina, joined the boys' soccer team to enable the Carberry Cougars to compete in the Zone League. Congratulations, Jara, on reaching another goal in your life. The Scotties Committee Executive have disbursed the profits from the Tournament of Hearts in Carberry. A brand new cooler to the rink, $6,000. Curling side bleachers, $20,000. Minor ball field upgrades, $2,500. Zip line, $2,000. Communities in Bloom, $2,000. Hospital shower upgrade, $5,000. Handicap swing, $7,000. Roundhouse upgrades, $3,000. Splash park, $3,000. Wellwood Recreation Center, $2,000 plus wood bleachers. Brookdale Recreation Center, $2,500. That leaves approximately $10,000 yet for something unexpected. And that is the news from Neepawa Banner and Press for Friday, May 13th, 2022.